everyone is. I'm like, I don't want to look at this tiny box of myself. I was like, where is it?
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Look at this sweet galaxy background we've got.
You got art.
I know.
Oh, hi, Art.
Is that the original?
That's the original. That's the actual. There he is.
Millions of dollars right there in the back.
Wow.
The whole budget.
You've been quarantining with Trace. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Who do we have here? Oh my goodness! Oh, it's so good to see you. I can't see you with my glasses on. That's the problem. I have not seen the pilot in years, and I was laughing so hard the entire time.
I know. I was giggling too. It holds up.
Nibs was actually, that was my cousin. My cousin used to call me Nibs when I was a kid. So that's why that's in there.
Paul, I hear you're going to mix the cocktail for us. Is that true?
Yes, I invented a special. I invented the Other Space cocktail that we'll do at the end of the show, if that's okay.
When did you invent that? Why
I invented it. I invented it today. So,
okay. I was like, if you've been sitting on that for 5 years.
I've been holding that back from you. Holding it back.
Well,
I'm just so happy to see you all.
Thanks, guys, so much for coming. My name's Ryan Britt. I'm doing the moderation for Den of Geek today and helping relaunch Other Space on Dust. Congratulations for being back 5 years later. Absolutely hilarious. Fantastic to see all of you. Thanks to everybody that's out there watching and loving the show, either for the second time or for the first time. Everyone is welcome. I was talking to Paul last night that I found this show hilarious 5 years ago, and I found it even more hilarious just now. But I wanted to jump in and kind of ask all of you guys, what was it like watching this 5 years later, again, just now? How did you feel? Reaction?
I feel like we're aging really well. I'm just gonna say it. I was just looking at my face, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that situation."
There you go.
We definitely didn't think that when we were making it that like we'd be talking about this 5 years during a pandemic. Like,
yeah.
I know. We're all in Other Space now.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy to think that we're used to seeing Conor on a screen.
Listen, this job prepared me for 2020. In a nutshell, all I'm doing right now, I'm a pro at this because we're doing while we work.
You're much more comfortable this time.
Yeah, sitting on the couch right now is definitely more comfortable, but I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, I was just like, I could do a Zoom movie if I had to. If I had to change my skill set, Other Space prepped me.
I love it. Neil, how are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good, It's great to see all your faces. It's great to watch the show. I remember the first time I walked into that abandoned factory in Pacoima that some real brilliant people, craftspeople had built a really cool spaceship set on. I remember parking in the parking lot, being like, and then walking into the open lobby that was like clearly like a business that had closed with a fire sale. You're like, and then walking through the doors to this amazing set, to this world-class set. It was so cool to live in that world for a few weeks.
Neil sleeping in that parking lot once because our office was so crazy. And I don't know if you remember, but I knocked on the window.
Was it before or after work?
It was like probably 2 weeks or a month into work, and it was early morning, and you were lying like, "This is hilarious."
Yeah. Get there early, grab 20 minutes of Z's.
He was
so dedicated. He just slept in the parking lot. Yeah, Neil, do you remember what that building was? It was a old medical bracelet factory.
Right.
So when you walked in the lobby, there was a whole two-story mural about the history of medical bracelets.
And boy, did they needed that history, because we were You know,
We should have recorded. Actually, Paul, you've got the voice for it. You should have recorded the medical bracelet. Play it on loop in the lobby.
Since 1950, helping to identify cadavers.
So we're gonna start taking some questions from all the folks out there. We're doing this, everybody's doing these virtual panels as well as we can. Those will start rolling in on the screen, and so if you see your question pops up, I will get to it as soon as it pops up on the screen. We can only do a few of them. We've only got a little bit of time, but one question I wanted to ask, because you guys were talking about living in that world for so long, or for the time you did the show, is I gotta know, are those spacesuits comfortable? I know.
Well, I'll speak for myself. Mine was a size too small, and then halfway through the show, they did a second one, which actually fit, and boy, was I grateful for that one. But I guess they could be more uncomfortable, but they definitely, it's not ideal.
Yeah, on a very limited budget.
Yeah, and nothing like very tight and very white uniforms. So, A, you're never gonna go to Crafty because you can't eat anything, and then B, you can't spill anything on yourself. So it was but they look good. They look good,
yeah, and they wash them I think every night. They used to dry clean them every night, so they were snug. Just when you broke them in, they were snug.
They're also. I remember that stage being very hot too. I think you guys were kind of sealed in polyester too.
That's right. Yeah.
So we have our first question from the audience. Is from Liz R. It says, "What was the most fun episode to film?" And this question may be answered by looking at Paul's screen. She's asking, "Where can I get a life-size art?"
Right there.
The only one is sitting right here.
But what was the most fun episode to film? I have my opinions of my favorite one, but for you guys, what was the most fun episode to film?
Gosh, have you guys ever worked on a project and then done press 5 years later? You have to really jog that memory.
Conor, you when you had to reboot yourself, when you
I love that.
Yeah,
it would be a tie between the reboot where Natasha turns into a baby, kind of, and Girls' Night. Those two were my two favorite, but it was mainly because I got to not be Natasha. So it felt like there was room to play in a different way. So I would say, I remember Bess and I talked about this the other day, but when Natasha's in the room and she's she's talking like a baby, but she's still a robot. And Girls' Night, when she just lets loose and she's the only one who can drink and have fun. It was just fun to play that. So for me personally, those are my I know you said one, but I'm greedy and I'm picking two.
Two's good.
Yeah.
I mean, Bess was the one we just watched the most fun one for you, maybe because you got to briefly take over the ship.
Karan thinks she's taking over the ship in all of the episodes. I think actually, I do love the scene Conor just mentioned when Neil and I were talking with Conor, and he was fixing my rudimentary English. I like that. It was really fun. And I had some great scenes with, I don't know, it's I feel like there were just different scenes with everyone that I really loved. I had some ones with Eugene that I loved and ones with Karan. Eugene and I had this just bizarre storyline.
I loved them. My favorite ones were when first of all, us being drunk together and that whole love story one. But also, I still remember the way that Bess would slap me for the slapping, lawyery one. And just slap and then caress was so off-puttingly delicate that I was like, me as a human being, do I like this? Or is this weird? Can you tell as an actor that this is kind of nice and kind of strange to me? But it was,
a fine line between pleasure and pain.
Yeah. We found it. We found it in that episode.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one to watch was where they built, because we didn't do this a lot. They built the planet set huge for you and Milana on set.
Yeah.
And you guys doing the scenes on that planet set where it was like years for you guys, right? Like the time was different, was so funny. And it was like a change of pace for the set. They built this cool planet set, and then to see you guys do, 7 years or whatever, 20 years of a relationship or whatever.
I did love that huge beard. And then also coming back for, if we ever do any more, like, I don't have a real leg, by the way. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
We got it. We're all set for that.
We just have an audience question from Allison Caldwell. And she was asking the question that I was going to ask. And Paul, maybe this question is squarely aimed at you, but if anybody else has inside information, that's great. But now that season 1 is on dust now, that's its new streaming home for Other Space. Can we get a season 2?
Well, first of all, I have nothing but praise and thanks for Dust, because I have been working tirelessly for 5 years trying to get this show back somewhere. So the fact that we're out there, and it's not just me sharing my Tumblr link of shareotherspace.com, but there's nothing I know. I can speak for myself, and I've spoken privately with a lot of our gang here. I think we would love to do more. I mean, it felt like just the rug got pulled out from under us right when we were sort of just hitting our stride and figuring it out and having so much fun. So, I've got a million stories in my head. I know Owen Ellickson does too. And so, fingers crossed, if somebody will pony up the dough, we would love to make it.
Do any of you guys, leading question, but did anybody, maybe I'm going to just single out Neil. I don't know why, this seems unfair, but did anybody write any fan fiction for what their characters did after the end of season 1?
And can I read it if you did?
Yeah. I do love that you singled out Neil, because you are assuming that he did.
Yeah. I run a pirate AM radio station out of a secret antenna in Griffith Park, so I broadcast my Kent Woolworth fanfic stories in the old radio play format. It's extremely serialized. Don't get into it unless you've heard them all.
You can't catch up. You can't come in the middle.
It's on 108.275 AM radio. You check it out. You're gonna have to fit and replace some tubes in your stereo to get it, but you'll get it. It'll be good. You'll really enjoy it.
So we've got a question from Exandra, and she says, or they say, I should say, they say, are there any new actors you'd like to add to the Cruiser crew? What kind of characters would they play? So I guess that, you guys are great, but Exandra wants to know, even greater people, what kinds of characters? I would say more robots, but I'm answering for you guys.
We did tee up in the last episode that Sarah Baker was going to come on board as the alien, and I'm an enormous Sarah Baker fan from years before Other Space. I'm trying to use her and stuff. I've used her in other movies too and projects, and so we were very excited about her joining up with us. So if we're back on, I think the alien of Sarah will definitely show up. But
so cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We had Dave Franco, so I'm just going to say Allison Brie and just check my OCD list off and get them both. Just get them both on the show.
Amen to that.
I'm going to copy.
I'm with you, Ryan. More robots, definitely.
Yeah.
Bess, I wanted to ask you, I feel like we live in this internet moment where everybody is after the name Karen. Everybody's hates the name Karen now. Was your Karen an actual Karen? How do you feel about that now?
Well, Connor and I did an interview the other day, and I said that Karen is a Karen. I said in the interview, but I also want to say that, and I feel this way because now, these Karen videos are coming out every day, right? Pop culture. There's a new one every day that the whole planet is, all over. And when I watch them, I do feel sorry for these women, because when you're coming from that place, like there's so much like anger, and I feel that Karan is similar in that sense. Like there's a lot of pain, and Paul has, he generously sprinkled in some moments throughout the season, so the audience could see that she is actually deeply vulnerable and just wants to be accepted. And so I think that all of these Karens that are like, loose in the world, I think that they too, underneath that aggression, I think that they are wounded and want to be seen,
They're getting seen, definitely.
Yes, they are having their moment.
The irony about Karan, though, is Karan is a name I've used multiple times. I wrote this young adult book series called Ignatius McFarlane Frequenaut, and the main female protagonist there is also called Karan. And for some reason, I've always been drawn to the name Karan. Now, perhaps not anymore. But
I have two friends who are wonderful novelists named Karan. So I mean, there's some wonderful Karens in the world.
there you go.
And I happen to like Karan of Other Space because I too felt like I got the shaft on the debate team. So I feel like I relate to her.
Did you get beaten out for Juliet in the school play?
I did not, but close enough. Other things. So I wanted to ask you guys. We have another one from the audience. Mark Simmons says, "Did you keep any souvenirs from the set?" Apparently not the spacesuits, because you guys said those were uncomfortable. Any souvenirs that you took or kept?
Yeah, I don't even think that suit would fit right now. We would have to know that we're gonna get into it
I
a good couple of months ahead of time. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Well, you have all the stuff.
Paul has all the cool souvenirs. Just like,
oh my God.
He's like,
yeah.
art wasn't enough. Let me also show you what else.
Art, there's a proton pack from Ghostbusters. So,
oh man,
I don't have anything.
I'm all about this stuff.
Everything
I still have some of the slime. I have some of the slime from the slime pot I was in that still, I like get it behind.
Whenever you clean your ears out?
No,
yeah.
I did.
I still have a red mark from Bess's slap.
No, the sad thing is we hung on to those sets in storage for about 2 years because I kept saying we're coming back. Somebody's going to make us. We're coming back. We're coming back, and then finally they said we have to throw it away, and it killed me because the one thing I wanted to save was the captain's chair, and nobody could get it out for me. So that's my biggest regret. The captain's chair.
It's a solid captain's chair. It's a good one. Mm-hmm. It's a solid captain's chair. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It was nice, yeah. I mean, we were on a limited budget on the show, but that's what's nice about this. That's I love about the show. It's very scrappy, just like the cruiser itself.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of a two-part question. This is for Fizz from Fizz Ends. They say what was the inspiration to start the show? Some things you and I have talked about, Paul, a little bit, and then also kind of for the group, how did the actors help develop the show? So what was the sort of genesis of Other Space, and then how did all of you guys, I guess, change it or shape it into what it became?
Well, I mean, the quick genesis was back in 2004. I had a script deal with NBC, who I'd done Freaks and Geeks with, and so I'm a sci-fi fanatic. I've always loved it, and I always wanted to do a sci-fi comedy that was true to sci-fi, not just making fun of sci-fi. And so I wrote this pilot. And they really, really liked it. And then they were kind of like, we just don't know what to do with this. We don't have anything else on the network that's like this. We can't, they always like to pair half hours with similar half hours. And so they let it go. And I walked around for 9 years with this script. Is the one, a lot of other projects don't go and you kind of go, whatever. This one was one I just loved and wanted to see realized. And so we got a call in 2014 or 13, I think it was, from Yahoo, who were going to do this Yahoo Screen, this streaming platform, and said, you have any show you would want to do? And I said, I've got the show right here. Sent it to them. They loved it. And then we brought on Allison Jones, the amazing Allison Jones casting director, who casts everything great in the world and has discovered all the greatest comedic talent out there. And she did this, and she brought this amazing group of actors to us. And they were so good that then, once we assembled the group, then we start rewriting I started rewriting the pilot for all of them, and then Owen and then the writers just started really, pulling off of their brilliant energy to develop these characters and to take them in all these different directions. And I can throw to the cast from that what they felt.
So how about the rest of you guys? How did you then, to answer that the fans' question, like how did you guys sort of feel like as a group that you shaped it? I guess is kind of a big question, but did you feel like it changed? I guess from the script that you auditioned for to what was filmed.
From the audition, no, but over the course of it, I mean, finding the dynamics and where the funny is between the characters was all really fun and based on the personalities of the actors, certainly, and kind of what we were doing with them. We were talking about that the other day, but like Eugene's Michael started in a different place from where he landed, and it was really fun I didn't get to do a ton of scenes with Euge, but it was fun at the beginning and fun at the end. Connor and I have this dynamic of our like ongoing love story where like she's the computer, but I'm actually kind of more computery, and she's like, but like has a lot more humanity than me, and like that was fun. Like I always remember that scene we did in the elevator where we improvised a lot of stuff where we were fighting for the first time.
I was just so happy to have someone real to play with. It was just me, myself, and I. I lost a part of my sanity. So when I saw that, like, I think what I loved about it, to piggyback off of what Neil just said, is the pairings that Paul and our writers and everyone kind of decided, which is what actually I think always makes shows interesting, is when you switch up the dynamics of 2 or 3, so you don't just always have the same group of characters interacting with each other. I think that makes for very interesting television when it's not just like, oh, it's just always those 2 or always those 3. And I think our show did that well, where we kind of interact with each other, we all act within each other in different ways. So Natasha and Kent's relationship is totally different than Natasha and Stuart's relationship, but it all gets airtime. So I think that we did work off of each other in that sense. And I think that, to credit Paul and even the wonderful Allison, knowing these characters, but also then kind of casting such different people so that it just looks interesting. Like none of us are the same. And I think that that's why it was such a special little show.
Yeah, and you guys just were such a delight. I mean, the chemistry you all had, it was fun for us going like, oh, let's pair them. What's an unexpected pairing, and that just we just fed off of that.
Eugene, had you been anyone's babysitter in real life that you had to then be subordinate to?
I mean, not at the time, no. I mean, now I am to my own kids, and I hate it. But no, I really haven't had that, like, kind of, ever had to be in that role before. So, but being in the role of the person who thought he had one job and then ended up getting a different job, totally. I lived that life, man. So that was easy to play. And yeah, that's the actor's life, and that was easy to play. And like the ups and downs of all of the relationships with everybody, there was such like a fun, connection with everybody that it everything felt surprising, even though we read them in the script, like doing all of the scenes with everybody in this cast. It was surprise, like everything felt like a surprise. It was like, what are they gonna do today? And it was awesome. So yeah, that's how I feel. What did I answer anything? What's happening?
Story of my life. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
You answered many things, Eugene.
Okay.
Someone, Hayes in the audience asks, will we ever meet Kent's brother?
Yeah, I want to play. Please let me play him. Let me do data and lore, but the completely inverted. Yeah,
nice reference. So the answer to that question is yes, but only if Neil can play him.
Oh, yeah, not up to me. Just I cast my lot. Please let me.
We just follow Neil's lead. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Let me owe Brent Spiner more bottles of wine.
It was always fun to hear what weird thing Neil was going to come up with. My favorite run you ever did was the finding the file,
Oh my God.
the endless file that just kept going. It just makes
God.
I remember that because all the mimicking I do. Sorry guys, my dog is trying to steal the show. He's really over me doing all these. He's so tired of me doing all these Zoom things. He's like rebelling. But I remember that because all of the motioning was very just up in the air, like I'm not actually doing anything. And while Neil was improving, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going. And like I had to keep going depending on how far Neil was gonna go. I was like, how do I do this while like not looking like I'm just doing this or this? It's so funny because like I also need to like keep a straight face, but I was dying inside because of the things that Neil was thinking of on the spot. I was really great.
This brings up an interesting thing that people don't know, I'm sure. Everything we shot was all live. So what Conor had to do, we had our sound stage, and then there was a stage right through a door next to us. Conor was on that set with a camera, and she was interacting, but all she had to look at was a security camera of the whole stage. So you only just had this kind of vision of just people on the set, but not what we were seeing in the audience.
It was trippy because, and I also had an earwig, but the earwig had a delay, so I couldn't. So like it was an act of my imagination, but it was funny because it felt like while sometimes hard, I'm like, well, I guess this would be kind of like how Natasha saw it, is like from one point of view, and then I remember there was times where like. If it didn't really work with the lag, there was like tape marks for eye lines, which was funny. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I guess it's realistic because she's stuck in a screen. Like she wouldn't be able to feel like she was there. But it was interesting. It was like such a different experience, especially if we were doing improv, because it was to like try and catch up with that. But I'm glad that people have said it looks like I was really there, or they thought other things. That means it was worth it. Doing it, I was like, is anyone going to know that I'm like in a screen in the other room, kind of like, behind the curtain? Just
no, because with the show, they're all such brilliant improvisers. I wanted to make sure that everything could happen live. We didn't have to overdub stuff or tape it later. Even the same with Art, with Trace, who voiced Art. Everybody was like, oh, well, when we were putting it together, like, well, so, someone will just read the lines and then he'll go in and do ADR later. It's like, no, he's got to be on the set. It has to be coming out of him so that he can improvise and they can improvise off of him. So we had Trace in the back with his microphone, and then our two puppeteers working Art. And so it could all happen in real time, and we could play around that way. And so, I mean, that energy, that's why I think the show is so funny and why everybody comes off, amazing like they are, is they got to just be pure doing what they do, pure talent, pure performance, pure funny. And I think it just made all the difference in the world to let them, so we could get that lightning in the bottle with them.
Amazingly, one of the audience members had asked this exact question as you were answering it before we actually got to it. So that's a fantastic, apparently some kind of superpowers that you have. I'm going to ask you guys sort of like one last question that I'd love to get all your sort of insight on, and then we're going to have your cocktail, Paul, and we're going to toast Other Space. Karan, I also just want to say that, like, it's hard to be a starship captain, and I think that you are who we would all be, even though I do think I would be more like Bess if I were on that ship. But
oh wow, it's very strong of you to admit that. I respect that. Bold choice.
I'm just being honest. But Eugene, I talked to you yesterday about Star Trek randomly. Now we're talking again. And so this is interesting to me because Other Space seems like it was so ahead of all the sci-fi comedy that's coming out now. We had Space Force this year, and now we have the Star Trek comedy that Eugene's in. And I wonder for you guys, and now Other Space is back, and we can watch it, and it's not only is it funny, but it's so smart and original as science fiction. So I wonder for you guys, why is funny sci-fi so necessary, and particularly now? And like, what does that mean for you guys?
We're all so polite.
I can call on you guys. I can call on you.
Karan, you go first. Karan.
I go first. Well, I just think sci-fi in general, I love anything that takes itself super seriously, because I think then you just leave that much space to make fun of it. I just feel like sci-fi stuff now, it's so much easier to do visual effects, even in the 5 years since we shot the show, and technology gets so much better that, normally comedies don't have the same budget as the drama stuff. So I think it's really cool, like, even to see the spaceship on the HBO show Avenue 5, I think it is, and to just see the level of effects, and you're like, oh, this would only be on like a Star Trek-y drama, but now we can have it. So it's really fun to be in the production value of like what would be a dramatic, like cool big show, but then to have like characters like Art that are just so silly and funny. So I think, that's really exciting about doing sci-fi comedy now, is that we can get away with things looking really good and then the content within that being really fun and silly. Because the more sort of that world can look believable, the more fun I think it can be. But the good thing with Other Space, like Paul said, is that we sort of get away with it even without that, which I think is really hard to do, because I think it can get very distracting. And instead, I think it just became a natural part of the show, which I'm really proud of.
But if you get better special effects in a potential season 2, you're not right.
Well, I mean, the funny thing was, actually, I was really happy with our special effects, like outside of the ship. I actually think one of my dreams in life is if somehow we could get Lego to make the cruiser, I will die a happy death. But it was more the stuff that we could play with. But that was also the conceit, is that it's a shitty ship. So actually kind of
right. Well, and Paul, you and I were talking about this yesterday. Is also it was born out of that love for that 70s stuff, right? That so it needed to look like that a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I was a big Clark fan, So anybody who knows that show, I just like that. It just kind of it makes you kind of the underdog. It just as this team, this space team on the show are a bunch of underdogs. You just kind of. You root for them, the fact that they're stuck in this terrible place.
I mean, I feel like with all of the new sci-fi comedies that are coming out, and I'm not like calling anybody out, but if anybody wants to fight me, I guess I'll fight you. They can hide behind the effects now because it's easier to get to. And since this was a shitty ship, we were so focused on the comedy and so focused on the relationships and the characters that's what made the show funny. And like we got to improvise more. We got to get into it. The details of the sci-fi stuff was awesome and different, which was great. But I think we were able to lock into the character relationships and like not, nobody was just focused on what was happening on the ship or like, how things were made. They were focused on the characters. And I think that that's why this felt so fun and we still remember it and, want to do more of it.
Sorry. I just want to give a real quick shout out to Michael Gallenberg, who was our amazing production designer, who had no money to work with. And literally we built that ship to accommodate this medical bracelet factory we were in. So I wanted to be able to have the camera be able to run through the entire ship. And so it's all built through hallways and into like offices and then out into this warehouse. So he was a pro. He was the production designer for the entire run of The Office. So we had good people.
Wow, yeah.
And they figured out how to get air conditioning in. They'd wheel the big air conditioning unit over and pump a big hose in and be like, oh, thank God. That out too. It's no small feat.
Sunland or wherever.
No small feat. Yeah.
I thought that set was so cool to walk around. I don't know. It felt like a maze. Like it felt like a real when you were. And I would go in it whenever I wasn't working because I was like, because I would just watch it and I just thought it was such a great fun set. But I agree with what Eugene said. Like we didn't when you don't have all those extra bells and whistles to rely on, and like. As actors, we're all on projects that have them and that don't have them sometimes, and it varies. But when you don't have that stuff, you have more, and Bess and I think we were talking about this the other day, like you have to rely more on your creativity and like what you're going to make work with the limited restrictions you have. So while it's great to have all those like, dollars and fancy things to throw special effects at, I think that you get a little bit more, you improv more, you get creative more, your choices are different because you're not relying on anything exterior. And I really believe, and I've always been a big fan of sci-fi since I was a kid, and big fan of comedy. And I think that the two are so important because people need to laugh. There's no other fancy way of putting it other than they need to laugh. And also I think sci-fi is that thing that you find people generally, no matter where they differ on like what kind of content they like, they still usually love sci-fi because it's still a fantasy, it's still an escape, but it's kind of up in the sky. So you can kind of go, well, like maybe it's a little closer than like other fantasy genres. So I think people, and maybe that's what I loved about sci-fi as a kid. And I think it's because like you look up at the sky and you're like, well, that's space. And like I can kind of have a little bit more of a touch on, science and fantasy and outer space, but with other stuff, it feels a bit further away. So I think maybe that's why people always gravitate towards choosing a sci-fi thing to watch. I love the genre. It's kind of why I was excited to do it.
Yeah, the cast of Other Space hates dinosaurs. We don't think they ever existed. And you can fight us on it.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I want to turn it over to you to make the cocktail before we.
Yes.
Yes.
Such a tease. We don't even know what it tastes like. This is.
I know exactly. You're just
2020.
Here's why I made it, because as you saw in the pilot, when we go into that other universe, it's a very colorful universe. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make a very colorful drink. So here's how you do it. Basically, I'm going to make it in a mixing glass so you can see it come to life.
Okay.
So we're going to take some ice.
I want to see it come to life.
And everybody write this recipe down as I go. Okay, so there we go. So you got a glass, ice in the mixing glass. First thing you start with is, and this is an easy drink to make because it's equal parts. All right, so it's every ingredient you're doing 3/4 of an ounce. So first thing you do is 3/4 of an ounce of gin. So here we go.
Ooh.
Yes, that's going to go
Good
into the
start,
mixing
good
glass. All right, like that. This is my gin, by the way. I invented a gin too that's out on the market. It's called Artingstall's. Go to artingstallsgin.com. Oh, what a plug! There you go. Now the next one is, since we need color in this universe, Midori. That's right. Everyone's favorite bright green drink. We're gonna put. Where did I put it? Right there. Here we go. So I'm gonna put 3/4 of an ounce of Midori into this drink. So there we go.
How green it is.
I know that is nuclear looking.
Yeah.
So in it goes, and oh god, I missed the glass. There we go. And now the next thing, we need another. So now we need some more color. We went green. Now we have to go blue. So we got blue curacao. That's right. It's actually a liquor that is made that's blue. It's got orange taste, but they make it in a blue color, like 2,000 flushes. So there you go. So now into this beautiful green drink goes.
That's cool.
The blue. See, it's already looking like our universe.
Totally.
Now we're going to put in some cherry liqueur. This is cherry hearing, it's called, but any cherry liqueur will do. And so this is our red component. So now we're going to put some red in there. It's a dark red, but that's all right. And
My captain.
so that's another 3/4 of an ounce that goes into this.
Ooh.
See, it looks like our universe.
It does.
And then then now what we're going to do is now we're going to stir this, get it nice and cold. And normally you'd stir it longer to get it really cold, but so I don't want to keep us here all day. Now we're going to take a strainer and we're going to pour it into a glass.
Ooh.
And here is another space.
It's blue.
That's very
It's
cool.
blue, green, it's got everything. Now you think it's done, okay, but you can kind of see the color there. We got bad lighting in here. But then the last thing you do is you take some raspberry syrup and you just put a little bit, tiny bit in, just spill it in here like that. And then it's kind of hard to see. The lighting's not good here, but what it'll do is it'll float on the bottom. You can't really see it, but when you make this and you hold up to the light, you have red on the bottom, and then the rest is green and all these other colors. And that is an other space drink.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Nice.
I wish I could make one for all of you. I wish you were all here, but
Yeah.
you'll come over.
Aw.
Well, I will make one this evening. My wife was demanding I bring something. I rented an office space for this, so I'm supposed to bring home a cocktail makings anyway, Paul. So I'm excited.
Perfect. Excellent. Three-quarter ounce of gin, 3/4 ounce of cherry liqueur, 3/4 ounce of blue curacao, and 3/4 ounce of Midori, with a little bit of a dash or two of raspberry syrup. There you go. It's another space.
Well, we're just about out of time. Paul, thanks for sharing the cocktail with us, but more importantly, thanks for the cocktail of making the show in the first place. Thanks. I'm glad our captain returned. Thanks to all of the cast of Other Space that joined us today. Thanks to Bess, Eugene, Neil, Connor, Karan. Thank you so much for being on there.
Karan.
Karan left. Wow.
His service was patchy. It kept going in and out.
Just a reminder, if anybody wants to watch Other Space, it is now exclusively streaming on Dust. You can watch Dust
2 days. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Karan's back. Starting August 1st, so the day after tomorrow.
You can watch Other Space
there
on Dust. And you can find us by searching on your smart TV. I've already done this at home. On my Roku, it was easy to find. Lots of great sci-fi on there, and will be the home of Other Space. And then we were Den of Geek hosting this today, and you can always follow Den of Geek on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We are Den of Geek US. On Instagram, we are just Den of Geek. And I want to thank again the cast and the creator of Other Space. I had a blast. Thank you guys for sharing your evening with us, and thanks for coming back to celebrate the show. Fantastic.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks to
Thank
Den of
you.
Geek.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks to Dust. Go to
Yes,
Dust.
thank
Dust
you.
is an amazing.
Dust.
Dust has amazing stuff on there, so enjoy it all.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Night.
Hi, everyone.
Cheers.
Everybody. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay.